Good morning or afternoon, depending on what time you are looking at this. So our third set of notes for Unit 1 is Components of Studying the Past. So these notes might feel a little choppy, but they go over some key things that are going to be important for the lunchroom fight assignment. So first off, measures of time. We're going to be talking about years. We're going to have a civilization that is in the 4,000 BCE, and then we'll jump all the way back to 40,000 years BCE. We jump around a lot. We don't have a linear history for 6th grade. So measures of time. A decade is 10 years. Root word dec means 10. A century is 100 years. Okay. Root word centi means 100. It's 100 cent for a dollar. Era is a long and distinct period of time marked by similar characteristics. So for example, I have examples of broad eras of prehistory, early civilizations, classical world, Middle Ages, and over here in this image you see other distinct periods of history. So we've got the Egyptian and Near East, ancient Asia, ancient Greece, ancient Rome, Byzantine Empire, and the Islamic world. All right. BCE and CE. Before Common Era, you might know this as BC, but in history, we are going to use BC. So 4 BCE is closer to us than 4,000 BCE because BCE goes down. Common Era is CE. You might know it as AD, but we're going to use CE in class. 1944 CE is closer to us than 4 CE because CE increases. So you see here, the numbers are going down. We get to 1, and then we go to 1 CE. There was never, ever a year 0. So a new decade begins with a 1, like 2021. And yes, I know that the marketing industry told everyone to celebrate a new decade or century when we get to 2000, 2010, 2020. But they're actually wrong. We weren't celebrating the real start to the decade. So again, BC is going down. It's going down. Then we go up with CE. There was never a year 0. Sourcing. So we are going to look at primary and secondary sources in social studies class. So a source is a person, place, or thing from which something comes and can or could be obtained. The sources we're going to look at are journals, government documents, letters. We'll also look at photos, a few political cartoons. So a primary source is an immediate first-hand account of a topic, someone that was in the conversation or watched the event unfold. A secondary source is sources removed from the event, usually scholarly articles or books that offer analysis. So if someone is witnessing a lunchroom fight, if you're watching the fight, you are going to have a first-hand account. You'd be a primary source. But a parent talking about the fight who wasn't there is a second-hand account. They're removed from the event. Now, sources are impacted by 3 things. They're impacted by point of view, perspective, and bias. So point of view is a particular view or way of thinking. A perspective is a point of view with that particular attitude. And everything is impacted with point of view, perspective, and then bias. Bias is prejudice, a preconceived idea not based on reason, against or in favor of a thing, person, group, and considered unfair. So to be biased, negative view of something. We're going back. So some professions related to history, there's archaeologist, anthropologist, historian, and historical interpreter. So this photo up here is of an anthropologist going into different cultures, recording, learning about them, living amongst them. Here we have an archaeologist. They're digging at a site. A historian usually is someone that's a professional, but we could say that you are all mini historians in training because you're studying and writing about the past this year. And then historical interpreter, my favorite part. And so this is this image right here. Love her account. It's called Not Your Mama's History, and she is a historical interpreter. So she could take on the role of a particular person that lives in the past. But normally historical interpreters are dressed in period costume, and they teach us about the past, but they have a 21st century perspective on the information that they're sharing.